Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Shannon. I am one of the Business Development Officers at GFD. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we begin today's presentation. All participants will be muted. However, if you do have questions throughout the presentation, you are welcome to place them in the chat box. And at the conclusion, we will be having a live Q&A. We know you have faced many challenges throughout this pandemic, and our hope today is to assist you in refocusing on Preneed. My colleague Anne will be discussing obstacles and opportunities. I will cover how to have the conversation of Preneed, and Cindy will follow up with technology and marketing strategies in order to assist you. Once again, thank you for joining us today.
And we know from our experience in Preneed that it takes a life event typically to get people motivated, right? Like you can have lots of conversations with people about Preneed, but it isn't until they have something happen in their life, death of a spouse, death of a close friend, an experience that makes them feel like their mortality is more real. And really, if you think about it, this is an unprecedented time, and people are sitting at home with really nothing else to do besides think about their mortality, and it's being like thrown in their face all day long through their phones and through everything else. So I think that Preneed is relevant. I think that the messaging, that we have to be careful with the messaging, and I know we're working on a couple of tools for our members for that, but I would say definitely this is a really great time to be reaching out and talking to families. And if we don't reach out to them with our message, somebody else is going to, right? And we want to make sure that we're there.
Good afternoon, everyone. As the bereavement sector navigates through this pandemic, the obstacles we've been presented with, the challenges of working remotely, such as diverting our staff to at-need, which seems to be the immediate focus at this time. But it's not the only focus. During the past several months, we've identified 3 types of bereavement clientele: those with an immediate need, and those with a heightened awareness of pre-need due to the crisis, and those that have been procrastinating. Focus on the second group, those of a heightened awareness. This pandemic has created a higher awareness of the need to pre-plan. This group is being underserved, even though it's tough to say during these trying times, but this group represents an opportunity. This is a new realization for these people. They don't know how to go about addressing their pre-planning needs. Shannon will address how to have that conversation.
Having the conversation about death and dying is never easy, but we know as bereavement professionals that we're expected to do that. We're known in our communities for our pre-need outreach. Families expect to hear from us in that regard, and so I don't think they would be surprised that at this time we're reaching out to them. There's 2 things that this pandemic has instilled in all of us, and that is fear and change, and people are starved for human connection. This isolation has elevated our level of loneliness to an all-time high, and if you pay attention to the videos that you see on social media, you will see things where they're encouraging people to write letters to seniors or visit them through a window. Even the pictures of people singing on their balconies. People are longing to have connection. And I think that they're also considering options that they may have previously ignored because we've been forced into a different mindset. Our values have shifted, and for some people, they've completely changed. And at some point or another during this pandemic, I think all of us have faced the fear of being ill or dying. And if not for ourselves, certainly for someone in our family, someone close to us. Many families have experienced a loss during this period of time, and I think those people are experiencing a very different grieving model. It gives us an opportunity to listen to what they went through, and I think they will have very definite wishes about what they would want or not want if something was to happen to them. I think our aftercare programs are extremely important right now because we have not been able to have that level of connection that we normally would during the at-need time. And so therefore, we really do need to be following up with those families because they need our guidance. I would suggest that you use the telephone. I know that we have come up with many ways to work remotely during this time, but you know that these people are at home and they are looking for someone to talk to. So even reaching out by telephone as an initial way to correspond with them is still going to be one of the best approaches. And you can also send emails because we are all checking our technology daily. And so if you have those lists of people that you needed to follow up with, either way would be a wonderful way to check in with them. Ensure that you're asking open-ended questions when you're speaking with these people. You want to promote a discussion, so you don't want to ask questions that only lead to a yes or no response. And be the expert. You know the answers to their questions, and if you don't, then be sure to say that you'll get back to them. I think that it's important to share real-life testimonials at this time, specifically what benefit it was to those families that you've served during the pandemic who had prearrangements, and for those that didn't, what a challenging time it was to make all of those decisions, either very quickly or remotely. Another suggestion would maybe be a seminar at some point when you're able to do that. And if not in person, you could host something virtually if you have those capabilities. But perhaps something that would offer a savings to frontline workers. We have seen much of that promoted in our communities where businesses are giving back, and they could be wonderful advocates for your business because they have walked through that anticipatory grief with families, and they have seen the effects of those families not being able to come into that healthcare setting to have the final goodbye that normally they would have. You are the voice of reason, the sense of calm in a very difficult situation surrounding a very difficult subject. And I think that it's important that you do not press pause, that you do move forward, and that you look for unique ways to connect with people in your community because they are looking for you. They are looking for your advice, your wisdom. And I think in sharing the stories of how this pandemic created that fear and created change in all of us, that you are that person that can guide them and make them feel reassured that their family's taken care of and that their wishes are heard.
Thank you, Shannon, for your tips and suggestions on how to have the conversation and how to press play on our Preneed programs. Moving forward certainly looks different today than it did a few months ago. We in the bereavement sector have been integrating technology into our operations for many years. But the dynamics imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic has propelled us to rapidly improve our skills in respect to modern technology. At a time when face-to-face meetings have become increasingly difficult or impossible, we are forced to consider other options. The thought of arranging a funeral, burial, or cremation service without sitting across the table from a family may seem impersonal. It's certainly not what we're used to. However, technology can help fill that gap when a video conference application is brought into the equation. While this may seem like a daunting concept, the general public are quickly getting used to communicating this way amongst their family and friends in order to create a connection. Just because you can't meet in person doesn't mean you can't meet face-to-face. I'm sure many of you, like myself, have been using this type of technology to stay connected with your loved ones. Just last night, I took my mom on a virtual tour of my garden. We really enjoy staying connected, even if it is remotely. Holding meetings online can allow you to communicate effectively with the added benefit of being able to see each other. The psychological benefit of actually seeing the person on the other end cannot be understated and has the unintended benefit of preventing distractions. There are a variety of online hosting services available, such as GoToMeeting, which is a paid program, Zoom Meeting, which is free, FaceTime, or Skype, whichever you are comfortable with using or your team is most familiar with. Although features can vary across platforms, some of the essentials include face-to-face interaction and the ability to host multiple attendees at one time. Schedule meetings in advance and send email invitations which synchronize with the recipient's digital calendar. Share your screen if technology permits, which can be useful in delivering presentations or walking people through your product selections or even your facilities. Familiarizing yourself with online meetings can have both short-term and long-term benefits. As you and your team get more comfortable and learn how to maximize this format, you could use this software to record weekly video blogs for your Facebook page or other social media platforms, or perhaps hosting a question and answer session, or hosting your own webinar. With the limiting of face-to-face meetings and interactions, you will likely have to rely on digital versions of documents you previously would have delivered or received physically. Our marketing team has created a fillable PDF Essentials Guide to assist you in collecting the essential information required to complete a file or contract. The guide can be emailed to the recipient for completion and returned. No printing is required. You may request a customized version of this guide that includes your logo. This tool has been very successful in assisting a number of our members. Here is a sample that was created for Ashburnham Funeral Home and Reception Center and Community Alternative Funeral Home and Cremation Center. Another benefit to our members is a comprehensive aftercare estate settlement tool created by INEX. It's called Closing Affairs. Please watch the following video for some basic information and features of this program.
So first of all, if we can just start out, Corrine, can you tell us what is Closing Affairs Connected?
Absolutely. Closing Affairs Connected is a really simple, really effective digital aftercare tool that allows funeral professionals to assist their families using 3 digital touches. Basically, the Closing Affairs website gives families access to all the guidance, all the tools that they are going to need to close the estate. And then there is also the INEX support website. And that site gives funeral professionals the ability to advise the credit bureaus of the death on behalf of the family, and also to provide some pre-populated letters to the family that will assist them in dealing with relevant government and business entities.
Well, I think that's an excellent resource, and I know that many establishments have already some aftercare procedures in place, and they may be doing some things already. So this is, as I understand it, it's really an enhancement to their existing programs. So they don't have to change what they're doing. This is enhancing what they're already offering to families. And the fabulous part is that in this situation that we're in right now, where we need to be doing most things remotely, this is just so key to the ease in supporting their families.
We've made this as cost effective as possible, being able to offer it as a digital solution. It's so simple. Within 10 minutes, the pre-need person, the funeral professional can have all of this done for the family. They can do it ahead of time. INEX, we're offering Closing Affairs Connected to the public, to the industry in general, for a limited time during COVID, and while we don't know what's going on, for $24.95. But to GFD member firms, we're extending a 10% discount. So to be able to provide this level of service to their families, we're now looking at about $22.45, I think it comes out to. So just a really great, as you said, enhancement if they already have a program in place, or a great basis, a great structure to get started with in order to build the program. We give you all the pieces of the puzzle. The kind of takeaway points that I would emphasize about this is that Closing Affairs Connected is simple. It really is simple. We've given you all the tools, the resources, the scripts, the emails, everything at your fingertips. It's applicable to every single family, regardless of the family's economic means, regardless of their religious beliefs, regardless of the disposition that they've selected. They still have an estate to settle, and Closing Affairs Connected delivers that value.
Our creative marketing team have been busy designing a number of pieces available to support our members. Each piece can be customized and tailored to meet your specific needs and goals, whether that be to feature pre-planning, GTAP, cemetery sales, or even to promote a seminar. This poster was designed and customized for Armstrong Funeral Home to assist them in promoting GTAP. It certainly makes me want to go on a vacation. Although we are not traveling far from home at this time, I'm sure many of us will embark on new adventures once we're able. Remember, the GTAP protection kicks in at only 100 kilometers away from your home. So even if you're taking a short trip to visit family or to explore other parts of the province, you are protected. Here are some samples of just a few of the many pieces available to you. Again, each of these pieces can be customized and tailored to meet your needs. Whether it be for a direct mail program, postcards, newsletters, social media ads, graphics for a webinar or invitations, or even a custom PowerPoint template that you can modify with your own slides and produce as needed. Our business development team would be pleased to assist you in developing a marketing plan to suit your needs and to provide further information on the INEX Closing Affairs program. We will now take a few minutes to address any questions that have come in during our presentation. Just a reminder that you can submit your questions using the chat feature located in the upper right-hand corner of your screen.
Okay, we're just waiting. Thank you, everyone. We're just going through some questions here that we can provide answers to you. Just give us a moment to go through these. And again, just feel free to click on the chat feature and ask any questions that you may have. We'll also let you know that there is a survey coming out in approximately an hour's time, that an email with a survey. We do encourage you to complete this survey. It does ask specifically if there's any material you would like GFD to cover in future webinars, and provide our feedback on your feedback rather on today's presentation. So John, have we got any questions coming in at this time?
Yes, Cindy, we actually have a couple here. Suzanne asks, is the sale price for INEX available for existing users?
Anne, I believe that's for you.
Yeah, sorry, there was a delay in the internet there. Yes, I believe it is. So just contact our customer service or one of us, either Cindy, Shannon, Matt, or myself.
Great, thanks, thanks, Anne. We also have one from David, who says, thanks for a great webinar. Any tips on how to create COVID-friendly messaging?
I will address that. This is Cindy. So David, if you would like to actually just even visit our GFD website, we do have a COVID-19 link set up just to help with a little bit of guidance and information there. But the strongest message simply is don't be afraid of reaching out during this time. This is the time that the public does need to hear from us. And, you know, the messaging obviously has to be a little bit sensitive. But as Heather mentioned in her opening video, people are looking for information and it's up to us to provide that to them at this time. So really the message of Preneed hasn't changed. You just want to let them know what options are available.
Great, thanks, Cindy. We also have a question from Graham who says, with the connected program, can we digitally submit? Can DocuSign be used?
Thanks, John. It's Matt here. I think that one's for me. The funeral home portal of INEX allows you to produce the common letters of notification, Graham, that you would be doing, such as health cards, driver's licenses, things of that nature. It doesn't come with DocuSign, but if your funeral home is set up for that, there would be a way to coordinate those letters with DocuSign, and perhaps we could give you some direct assistance with what's involved with that piece of the puzzle. But the main thrust of Connecting Affairs is, you know, as someone who was an executor myself recently, I was grateful for what the funeral home that was involved in the service had done for our family. But I had a year and a half ahead of me of a lot of work to do that I didn't have any experience with. And this resource accompanies the executor or next of kin through the entire process long after they've left your building. So I feel it's a great value, and would encourage you to take a look at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. We don't have any further questions at the moment. I'll leave it open for a few seconds here if anyone else is in the middle of typing.
John, I see a question that's come in, and the question simply was, what is the cost to the funeral home for having a marketing piece created? At this time, there's no cost to our members for creating the piece. If there is printing involved, then the printing costs are given on to the funeral home. But as far as the marketing piece creation and the customization, that is no charge to our members.
Great, thank you, Cindy. Okay, we have another one here. Have you created a COVID-related video to be used on our website?
Hello,
Shannon, do you
everyone.
want to tackle that one?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, John. So with respect to what we have created this far, again, as Cindy mentioned, you're welcome to go into the GFD website and click on the COVID-19 resources, and you will see that there's a number of items there for you. With respect to any kind of customization for something for your website, we'd certainly be willing to assist you with whatever that might be, but we have not created anything in particular that you would put out as a customer-facing video at this time, but certainly please feel free to check those resources, and again, reach out to any of us as your business development officers, and then we can work together with marketing to create something for you.
Thanks, Shannon. And that touches on a good point that as this COVID-19 situation unfolds and as we're all dealing with it, GFD has been constantly updating that COVID-19 resources page, and we continue adding to it. And one of the takeaways from this webinar actually is, and you can either advise us through email or your BDOs or through the post-webinar survey. We welcome suggestions and requests for specific items that we may not have up there already, because we'll be continuing to work on resources for our members and the bereavement sector as a whole. And I don't see any questions coming through now. If anyone out there has any questions to add, If you think of anything after the webinar, once again, just reach out to any of the business development officers, or you can just email info@gfd.org, and we can answer that for you. All right, Cindy, I'll let you take it away from here.
Thank you, John. So on behalf of your GFD business development team, I'd just like to thank you all for taking the time to join us today. We hope you gained some momentum and are ready to push play on your Preneed program. Anne, Shannon, Matt, and I are ready to assist you and are available by phone or email. Again, as we mentioned earlier, all of today's attendees will receive a follow-up email containing a link to a survey. We do encourage you to complete this online survey, giving us your feedback and to let us know what materials you'd like GFD to cover in future webinars. So again, thank you for joining us today and enjoy your day. Goodbye, everybody.